got to by default. Alrighty, it says recording in progress. Hello.
Hello.
How are you today?
I am doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Pretty good. So today, guys, I would like to introduce everyone, myself first. I am Rootsnaturally, and with me is
Jrnightingale.
And we are from the Coin Hunt World fan group. And yay! And so we've decided, we have a Facebook page, and we decided that we're going to take it from the Facebook page and expand it a little bit to help everyone out. But I just thought that today that Josh and I could kind of have a get to know us.
Yeah, a little introductory stream.
Yes. So do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, many of you know me as Jrnightingale. I'm a hunter that lives in Victoria, BC, and originally I'm from Ontario, so I moved here.
Okay, stop. You're taking all my questions that I saved up for you. Okay, then I'm going first. Right. Rewind selector. Where are you from, Josh? Where's your hometown?
Yeah, so I'm from Ontario originally. I was born in Mississauga. I think there's some other hunters in Mississauga. Pretty sure they have a crane there, so I'm jealous that I'm not there anymore. But yeah, that's where I'm from, and now yeah. What
do you do for work?
So for work, I own my own business. I used to do electrical work. I was an electrical apprentice for 4 or 5 years when I first moved out here, and then I've since then transferred careers, and now I own my own business doing like dog hikes. So I take packs of dogs on off-leash hikes, and I pick them all up and bring them out and let them run around. Professional poo picker. That's what I like to call myself.
But you do, like, there's some beautiful shots that you get to
outdoors.
Like
totally
jolly. You have some, like, amazing, like, you should see some of these dogs, guys. If you want to, there's some pics that Josh could put up at some time on the old Facebook page. But yeah, I kind of envy you because I love the outdoors, and you get to be outside as well as doing, you get to hunt at the same time. Like
I know. People always, I know. I've like told people that I get to hunt while I'm working, and then I tell them I'm a dog walker, and they're like, "How are you hunting? Like when you're out in the forest walking dogs?" But a lot of people don't really like. I do like 2 hikes a day, and they're 2 hours each. So I do like 4 hours of hiking, but a lot of people don't realize I do like 6 hours of driving with my partner per day. So I gotta pick them all up, right? And they're all in different areas and different sections of the city, and so I naturally get to cover a lot of distance that way. But yeah, I'm definitely blessed. Victoria is really beautiful. Like I live in the city, but it really only takes like 15 minutes to 30 minutes to kind of get out to some like really rural, beautiful hiking trails. Some of the, I would say, better like hiking trails in Canada, honestly. So I'm pretty blessed in that sense. Yeah.
So when did you start playing the game?
I started in June, first or second week of June, pretty much the exact same time. I think I had it downloaded like a week or two before that or something, but then kind of just left it on my phone screen for a couple weeks or whatever, and then got in. It was right around the time when like the OG blueprint was dropped. So so I was lucky. I was just in time, and luckily it was only 2 green keys. So so that's kind of when I got in. How about you?
I started, I think it was like March or something. Yeah. And same thing, like I started out, and the first week I was kind of like, because in a way, like even now when I talk to people about the game, it's it doesn't connect at first. It's like free, like
Yeah, for
free.
sure. I know it takes a bit. There's definitely like a bit of a barrier. There was like a player that I just like connected with last week. Like I've seen his UVs popping up, and last month I would just like fill his his flags, his dozers every time I saw them. And
Mhm.
then I tried to add him, and he didn't have Discord, so I unfriended him. And then he did end up getting Discord, and we met up to play some of his other dozers. And he said he's been playing for like 2 or 3 months, and he
Really?
like yeah, and it was funny. He thought that once you place the flag, it just turns into a UV because
While you're
I was
filling up the dozer.
I was just like filling it so fast, right?
Yeah,
So he
yeah.
thought, but it was
Oh.
funny. But that kind of shows like the barrier a little bit sometimes, right? With like
Mhm, mhm.
how to actually like kind of get started going. So yeah.
Yeah, and I find that as well too, that um like I would say that I would consider myself even though I'm a seasoned hunter because I've been doing it
hmm
for a while, I
hmm
will consider myself novice because I play as I'm out. Like I'm not
Yeah.
going for the leaderboards or anything like that. But one thing I really love to do is to get people added in the game. And I do
Absolutely.
find that there is this barrier, like you
Yeah.
said, where people aren't like they're not, even though there's the wiki, there's the Discord, I feel that
hmm
there's a need for maybe something like what we intend to do to kind of
Yeah.
break
Yeah.
things down for people
Yeah. Yeah.
and have direct contact with people so that they can ask questions about the
It's true.
basics, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's really
Yeah.
important. I mean, for those of you who don't know, like Francine, literally, like when I started, I bombarded her with questions for literally like 2 weeks straight, pretty much,
Mhm.
and yeah, and look at here we are now. But she was very helpful, so it's definitely helpful to have like someone to do like a bit of one-on-one with for sure. There's
Exactly.
lots of resources, but it's hard to like the wiki's amazing, right? But as a new player, like where do you start on the wiki, right?
Yeah, and it's like the
So
wiki. Wiki what, right? Where do I look on the wiki?
yeah,
I'm
yeah, for
always
sure.
referencing the wiki, but then I also like to take parts out that I feel address the questions directly
Yeah,
that new players are asking. And that's more, I find like that's my specialty. I really love to help the new people
it's
coming
true. Yeah,
in.
it's
And it's
true.
always
You're
a, like,
amazing at it.
yeah, it's the same thing over and over, but I love, I guess I get like a rush from explaining stuff to them. And then when they get
Mhm.
it, it's like, oh, I see you. You're now here. You're now there, right? Like helping
Yeah,
people
yeah.
out. So, what are your usual hunting grounds? Like,
So yeah, so as I said, now I was born in Ontario originally, and now I'm out here
mhm,
in Victoria. So I live like pretty much right in the downtown core of Victoria. Victoria is a city with probably like in the Victoria Greater area, which is like basically the northern end of Vancouver Island, just like
mhm,
right kind of. It's about a 2-hour ferry ride from Vancouver for reference. But there's really like in the actual Victoria city, there's probably about 100,000 people or so to give you an idea. And then in the greater Victoria area, there's probably like 250, 300,000 people or something like that.
yeah,
So I'm lucky in that sense. Like I live right downtown. So Victoria's definitely like gotten much better in the game. But when I started,
mhm,
there was really like not much here. So I kind of hunt near like the downtown Parliament building and Wharf and Wharf Street,
mhm,
it's called, which is kind of like a very touristy area here in Victoria.
yeah.
And then kind of over like on Dallas Road, it's called, which is this really long like ocean walkway that
Okay,
spans out probably.
before you get to
Yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah,
so I
yeah.
was gonna say to you, like, what is like your hunting style? Because I actually, you sent me a map a
hmm
while back,
Yeah,
and I am gonna pull that up because
yeah,
I really think that it's important for not just noobs, but like everyone, like you, like people just starting out, people even like me, because I can say that I've learned a lot from you, expect like throughout time, right?
yeah, yeah,
Going
yeah.
from you when we first started, you're asking questions, and then
Yeah,
I'm not sure if people understand though that when you first started a few months after, I don't even think it was that much, you created the first strategy guide that was on Reddit that blew up. Like people really liked that. And then you created a second strategy guide. But what I really like, one of the things that I really like is that you've really embodied the community aspect, which that's what I'm about as well. So you had sent me a map a while back showing your organizational skills to like pretty much the hunt style that I
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I typically kind of strategize everything, right? That's how you try and advance the most, I feel like. And really like strategy can be pretty much be like applied to a lot of aspects. As simple as this game is, like it's also, it's just this QB walking around the map and you just pick up keys and bulbs, but in reality, like there is actually so much strategy to it. So I really try and like implement a lot of that stuff. So I feel like creating some, some guides and whatnot are definitely like helpful to help other players advance and stuff like that. Like it really just kind of depends like on what your goal is in the game, right? Like are you trying to collect some keys, are you trying to just collect the crypto, are you trying to stock up resources, or are you trying to do like all of those things as together as well as you can, right? And then depending on like what route you want to take, then there's different strategies for like all those different things, right?
Okay, so give me a second here.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to take a look at your spot. Okay, and I want to talk about why I like your spot, right? So this is what you sent me a while ago. So let's just talk about your hunt. I like this spot. Number one, you've sent me a few pictures, but even just before you sent me the pictures, just I can tell like it's very beautiful scenery.
Yeah.
Easily accessible.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about community and getting involved and all that, so it's easy to walk, right?
Yeah,
Walk
absolutely.
It. For runners, you can run, you can drive.
Yeah.
Wheelchair accessible.
Yeah.
If you were to get out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it meets the Coin Hunt World intent for fitness, because I think moving forward, they were saying something that we might be rewarded for actually getting like our
absolutely. Yeah,
right?
Which would be awesome. I think that'd be a really good implementation for the rural players, especially, right? They don't have as many keys. So imagine if they could now when they, instead of driving 10 kilometers to their nearest city, they can walk 10 kilometers to their nearest city and get keys on the way, right?
Another thing too that I like is that it's this location, it's like heavily populated. So that means like there's a whole bunch of vaults all along the shoreline here, and that also reduces like our carbon footprint. So you can get out, like you can walk, you can do all this or park. And we're not going, like you said earlier, we're not going here, there, and everywhere. Because I noticed one of the great things is that when you have one area that has a whole bunch of vaults, people tend to go there and they're not driving all over the place, right?
So exactly.
How many vaults do you have in this location now?
Yeah, so I mean, this is the entirety pretty much like of the Dallas line. So I'm pretty proud of like the community and myself for really like grouping together to to put this together. It came in handy a lot, especially obviously in this last month. It kind of initially started, I've been saving up resin pretty much since I started this game. I had my first UVs up and all filled once I did get going in the game, I really like got going. So all my UVs were filled within the first like 2 or 3 weeks, and then since then I've actually technically moved them all. So that was kind of a bit of a waste of resin. But then since then I've been I just like saw when I started, there really actually wasn't that many UVs at all here. I kind of started in the nick of time here. Like there was really, other than like a few here and there was really only like 2 players that had all their UVs up. So it was hard to tell like which spots were going to turn into hot spots. And then as I saw things like developing a little bit, kind of once the ball was rolling, like our downtown was like filled up within, 3 weeks or whatever. So I kind of started moving them all strategically into places that I saw that were kind of filling up. So now to answer your question, in the Dallas line now, like I haven't technically counted them, but there's got to be roughly like 100 UVs at this point in them. Yeah. So, and it's actually really awesome. Like basically like that line that was just showed, like there are for the most part really no keys along that route. So it's a good and bad thing. But the pause, there's tons of keys in those areas, but that route specifically, there is no, like on the yellow line there specifically, there are very few keys, which is actually what I wanted, right? Because like that basically leads into like, if you look by the red line there, initially that was the area that I wanted to continue. It's now filled up as well. But that red line basically leads right into Parliament and downtown. So you can start on the other end at the yellow line there, and for the whole duration of this yellow line, there is literally a UV every 100 meters. So and that's kind of what I wanted, right? There's like keys, there's tons of keys in all the areas around it, but on the yellow line specifically, I wanted an area where I could get as many UVs in as possible. So now basically, there's about 100 UVs there, and then that leads you into Parliament, where the Wharf Street area, which is where that red line kind of ends, and there's like roughly like probably another like 80 or 90 UVs in that area type thing, or something like that, like maybe a little bit less, maybe like 60, 65 or something like that. But I kind of wanted to create an area like when you go into downtown Victoria, like, our city's like developing a lot, but we really don't have like the infrastructure. So things are starting to get really clogged up, and it can be really hard to like navigate through downtown. Like, not everything's as organized. So I really kind of wanted to create an area where it was just like super straightforward. Like if you started at the one side of the yellow, like you could, especially if you did it on reset, like you could literally take your dog for a walk, and you don't have to do the whole Beacon Park loop. So there,
that's a strategy. That's a strategy right there, right? Like you could go down, do the hunt before reset, and then hit it again walking on the back. Way up. But I really I like as well, what I like about this is the fact that you used your area, right, that in a way that was good for you. And that's one of the things that I think overall that for new hunters or any hunter is to recognize that, to find the spots that work well in the group organization, right? Because everyone's layout in their city is very different. And you really, like at first you said you started and you actually had to move some of your UVs, which for sure. That happens, and you made that's crazy. There's like that many UVs in one spot. That's nuts.
Yeah, I know. It's really like grown. It's honestly, it was like really surprising that area wasn't taken up, because like kind of on one section of it is where also like we get a lot of tourists here in the summer. So the one end of it is where the cruise ships land as well, right? And like that Beacon Hill Park area, like it's literally one of the most like beautiful parks we have here. There's like peacocks running around, and there's like tons of ponds and fountains everywhere, and like all these flowers. It's just really beautiful. So I kind of wanted to create an area that was not only easy to hit all these UVs, but people could you know,
Scenic.
access like all these like really beautiful
Yeah.
spots, and
Yeah.
you know, so that was
Yeah.
so
No,
we
I
have
really like
accomplished that
that.
goal for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things that really stands out is that obviously you're a dedicated player,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
you could
this
say
month,
that.
not only did you get global leader, but then you like you're number one. Like that's crazy, right?
Yeah,
Like,
thank you.
well, just you know, like yes, I'm not, like I said, I'm not like up there. Like I'm the player that just
Yeah,
loves to help. But I recognize what it takes
yeah, yeah,
to
absolutely.
even get into the top 50
Yeah,
compared
totally.
to 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you guys right now, even compared to like say forecast another 5 months, it's not easy even to just get
Yeah,
to the top 50.
this month was by far the most competitive month. Like I wasn't really around for the first purple vault, but I remember watching
Mhm.
like one of Block Boy's streams, and he said when he opened the purple, like it was a guaranteed win that month. Right.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
now you look at this month, and like Trugoy opened the purple, and like there were a couple players above Trugoy for like all the like, you know, all the players that didn't open a purple were still able to, like Trugoy had to do other stuff to like maintain that position, right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
definitely like gotten more and more competitive for sure.
Well, you
But yeah,
also you also got before the leaderboards, you were the first to print the fire QB,
yeah,
which
yeah,
was
yeah,
sick. I was trying
absolutely.
to pull that
Yeah.
up, but I couldn't. Like, I didn't have enough time. I've had like crazy morning.
Yeah, no,
um,
that's totally
yeah, I was
fine.
trying to pull the video up from our Facebook page together. Yeah,
Oh,
but it
gotcha.
just
Yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't do it fast enough. And then when I did with it was too huge. So
With the animation, you mean, of
yes,
him walking
yeah,
around with his
yeah.
little with his little fire poops. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
So you were the first one to print that, which is
Yeah,
crazy
yeah.
because we did so many things for that. But another thing that stands out is that when I read the wiki,
Hmm.
just how many vaults that you opened up. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
so it was, I believe it was, you opened up like 400,
Yeah.
four thousand,
It was
and
yeah, it was 4,144 volts.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
the person, wasn't Lion Locks underneath you?
It was, yeah, yeah. And he was at like
Three
3,024 or
something.
something there.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so then I was like, it's not even so much that it was even close.
Yeah, yeah,
And
totally.
I remember when it was like a month, before the month started, you had said to me, I'm going
Yeah,
for it. I'm going for it.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
So you went
yeah.
hard. Like that's like
Well, it was kind of
crazy.
funny the way it happened, because like, as I said, I had been saving up a bunch of resin. Like normally my city wouldn't have facilitated like to this degree of a leaderboard run, right? And
Mhm.
initially I was saving it for a crane. I wanted to be the first
Yeah.
person to fill a crane solo. And I was basically like at that goal, right? Like I had like, I think it was like I wanted to fill a crane solo, but I also still wanted to give a chance for my community to get their little construction print or whatever. So
Hmm.
but then, you know, with no crane in sight, like I started kind of looking at other ways, and this ended up being much better, right? Like this was kind of like an investment into the city. So that's kind of when I like created the Discord and started connecting people, which was kind of a double, you know, it was like a double benefit, because during that event you needed to connect with your community for monoliths and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
So
that's another strategy as well,
yeah, yeah,
right?
absolutely.
If you guys are playing in within your own cities,
Hmm.
to create a Discord for like
Yeah,
local
yeah, absolutely.
Discords. Um,
Connecting with the community is like really one of the biggest things. Like I could never have done that like whether any of it, right? I couldn't have opened that many
mhm,
vaults. I couldn't have done a leaderboard run. I couldn't have printed anything first if I didn't, like, you know, if I didn't kind of start reaching out to the community and connecting us all. I'm
mhm,
pretty lucky in a little bit of a sense, just because even though we do have like, you know, a smaller city in comparison to some of these other
mhm.
cities, We do have like a decent amount of people like active in the Discord a little bit. So
Yeah.
I did get a boost, but in reality, like I just started like a Discord server that was just for people on Vancouver Island.
Yes.
And you know, and every time I like go to a UV and I see a new player, I add them in the game. And if they have it, if I see they have a Discord, I try and connect with them. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, if they don't, I unfriend them just so I don't get fried on a buddy quest, right?
Which that's
yeah.
another tip.
Yeah.
That's another
Yeah.
tip. It's so much easier to connect in the Discord. Like I know on our Facebook page, we do have a buddy quest list, but
Yeah.
the more connections that you have, the better.
100%.
So on our page, we have a section where like, I don't care, anyone's welcome to post. Like I know even yesterday, this one guy, he had said to me, oh, he thought it would be rude to post his local Discord. And I said, no, like I encourage it. I want, like, we're a group that really love this game. And the more people that we can bring together to help each other out, the better, right? As a community.
Yeah. I know you were kind of connecting some players like in your area. How is that going?
Pretty good. Pretty much using your strategy, right? Just and also
it's a slow build. Like it takes a while, right? But you know, once it does start to get going too, like people, you know, once you start getting a cluster like in a certain area or something, you can kind of like see, you know, what the potential like of doing that is like. Exactly. It doesn't take that many, right? Like that, like, you know, that line, like it's not like it's like a ton of players. Like I think there's probably like 12 players, 13 players or something involved. And then, you know, and then people like know that turns into a hot spot, and like some people were even willing. They like some people were even willing to like destroy a couple of their old UVs and add them into that spot because they know people will like go there, right?
So what vaults do you prefer to open? Like
pretty much like almost since the start, like I pretty much only open UVs. It's pretty situational for the most part. That's kind of also why I ended up going like so hard in the elemental invasion. Like I wanted to run for leaderboard, but literally like a week before September started, that freaking turkey meat UV went up in the auction house, and I could not I could not resist it. So I ended up buying it, and it drained a lot of my keys. So in this, like the ironic part is that like I actually didn't open any vaults at all in the first week of September. I really wasn't actually going to go for leaderboard in September. But then once I ended up like filling part of the line that was built at the time, it bumped me up to first, and I just kind of ran with it, right? But I think like it really depends on your area. I prefer to hit UVs only for the most part. In the event, for the most part, I was only hitting UVs and green vaults.
Okay, so that's what I was gonna say to you. I know from like myself and then other players, and then as well talking to you, the UVs compared to, I think, like how did the last event, the elemental invasion, change that style though? Because for me, I kind of prefer to open either the UVs or the blues. If there's no UV around, I'll just open up the in-game vault, because
the standard vault.
Like somebody's like, well, find a lot of the new players are like, oh, I'm gonna go for the green, I'm gonna go for this. I'm like,
for sure,
I'm like,
for sure.
10 blues.
That's the same way. That's the same way I do it, right? Like as much as it's pretty funny, like as much as I love the crypto, it has honestly in my mind, like I'm in crypto separately from this, so it has kind of become like a side benefit, right? Like when I'm opening a UV, I'm not like, oh, crypto. I'm like, how much resin did I get? Like how much paint did I get?
That's like
it's
me
so
too.
Ridiculous, right? But
I know. I think it was what Kivo Strings. He had this meme that I thought like was perfect for this, because it is something like it was kind of talking about the fact that when you open a vault, like you're complaining, oh, I only got crypto, right?
Yeah,
Right?
the only
The
game where you
only
can complain about getting free money or
free
whatever. I
money.
know. Yeah,
Exactly. But
that's
that's how I explain to people. Like, I'm like, okay, so you can use 10 of your
yeah,
blues, but
yeah,
then add that up. But
yeah.
when you open one green, the amount of resin and paint that you get is equating to
100%, right? And that's the thing, and it does really come back to like what your strategy is, right? There's like there's some people that like really only care about the crypto, and maybe it's convenient for them to just go and hit as the green vaults and make their hunts quicker and just like grab the crypto faster. I do feel like for the most part, the average player does care about the other stuff involved with the game as well. And you're absolutely correct, right? Like the maximum resin you can get from a green or a blue is 500 resin, right? So if you hit one green, you have a potential to get 500 resin, or you could use those same, 10 blue keys is one green key technically. So you could use those 10 blue keys instead and open up 10 blue vaults where you could theoretically get 500 resin in each, right? So you have potential to get 5,000 resin instead of 500.
That's how I see it as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like there's so much going on. How will your hunting style change with the new leaderboard system, right? Especially now that
I know,
the leaderboards, they're going to be, you're going to get leaderboard points for opening up higher than
for sure. I know that definitely like does bring a little extra pizzazz into opening some of the higher tier vaults. I wish I knew what the boost did, because they didn't post how much the points are for the higher tiers now, right? So I would really like them to kind of like add that information in and see, if they're not going to add the points to the leaderboard, then it is like really helpful to be able to keep track of how many points you're at, right?
I feel it'll be good.
Yeah.
I like, from what I, so far playing the game, because I've noticed in the past, even like month, or even since the elemental invasion, our greens have increased, but then even out of just the regular in-game blue vaults, like our blue keys have increased as well.
Yeah, for sure. I do think they added, it depends how you look at it, right? Because like since I've started, it's like when you factor everything in, there has been a decrease in the blue keys, right? So they did add some to the map. Like I noticed, like I think like when they did that add-on, like I think I noticed like 5 new blue, which is like on my route's really big, right? So 5 blue keys was like added to it here and there or whatever, right? But yeah, it's definitely all in all, once you like start to factor in the Twitter contest, which I understand why they did that. It is harder to get the blue keys, right? But yeah, so sorry, I kind of cut you off there.
Oh yeah, no, I was thinking when I think with the blue keys, that is like the scarcity, right? Like that is the
it's what makes the game go around, right?
Yes, that's our currency, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I was saying to Smoochy, like earlier, I posted something and he had said something about it, and I was talking about the new shot drop that was in the wiki, and he's like, yeah, I'm so happy that it's only 2 green keys. I'm like, yeah, me too, because I'm keep poor. Like I did the emoji with crying, because you get where between the auction house and then just opening vaults and this, that, whatever, that keys really are very valuable. The blue keys, especially, right?
100%. Yeah, and that's like, kind of comes back down to the strategy a little bit. Like that's where sometimes like, like even Lucian Weaver says himself, this is like a game of choices, right? And sometimes like sacrifices need to be made. And even myself, right? Like as I said, the first week of September, because I spent too many keys on meat cubies, I needed to save up
Much
keys for
harder.
the event,
Yeah.
right? So I
Yeah.
spent a whole week just like sacrificing everything else just so I could like get a big stack of blue keys for the
I've
event.
been there. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've totally been there. I forget
yeah.
what was our last blueprint that was like red, was it two red?
The last drop in the auction house or in the shop,
Yeah,
you mean?
in the shop. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the shark. So yeah, it was two reds. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had to do the same thing. I
Yeah.
didn't open a lot of vaults. My focus was just to get keys. Every now and then I would like I have a strategy. Okay, I'll get to 100, maybe do 5 or 10, then start building again. Then you get to 200, just build and build and
100%.
build, and that's exactly what it is. So in talking about that, like what kind of strategies you think, like, say for someone just starting out, like, would be important, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I would say like definitely like the first thing, like people it's kind of funny like that because I got my mom to join. Well, I didn't get her
did
to
you
join.
really? I know your dad
It's,
plays.
it's so funny. Yeah, my stepdad plays and they're not together, right? They're totally separate entities. So yeah, like I did get my stepdad to play and he got his wife starting to play, which is awesome. They're in Ontario.
Yeah.
And you know, they go out and go hit happy hour and it's so cute, right? Like I think it's so good. And then like my mom came to visit me a few weeks ago, or about a month ago or so here in Victoria. And then I was just like, you know, like I was just like telling her about Coin Hunt World and babbling on about it and blah blah blah. And then, you know, I didn't honestly think that, like, I didn't try and get her to join. I didn't really think it was like super gonna be her thing. And then she called me the other day and like was like, so I like downloaded this Coin Hunt World, and she was like, yeah, she was like asking me, she was like, so what are these like tower things? Like, how do I hit them? Blah, blah. It was so awesome. So yeah, so I kind of gave her like the start, a little bit of a rundown of like what she should do to start, right? So, and kind of like what the advice like I told her is really just to try, obviously first things first, like set up your HQ. Because you get your mystery box, which kind of gives you like even setting up your HQ right away. Like I thought the 5,000 resin bonus was done, to be honest, but it's not. Yeah, so I guess that's like a thing forever, at least for now.
Yeah.
So that's a big boost right there, right? And I think even when like she used my referral, try and use a referral, because then I think she started off with like, I don't know whether she hunted them, but I think she started off with like 8 blues or something.
Yes.
And I think I remember
when
that.
You start when you first start, you start with your 8, and then when I walk, because I literally, for some people that they really don't know, on top of the Coin Hunt World, they know nothing about crypto, and those are the type of people that I really try to encourage, right? Especially in some communities that I feel that it really benefit. But I literally, when I say walk people, physically walking people, so they start off with their 8 keys, and then the first thing I will do is we'll go find two blues to get the 10, and then set up that HQ, and then explain the whole mystery box. Go over this for anyone. We'll be breaking these type of things down in the future, but definitely, what do you say? So HQ first, and then
and then kind of like basically try and get your first UV up. Like so the first thing I would say too for like a new player is to try and utilize Anakira's map. So because then like this was my mom's like, I don't see where anything is, right? And I was like, you should. I sent her the link. I was like, you should, because she lives in Hamilton, Ontario, and I'm pretty sure Hamilton's a pretty good area.
No. Yes, it is a good area.
So I was like, you should check the map and see where some stuff is and see if it's more beneficial for you to create your own UV line with your UVs near you, or whether you should just add them into a hotspot that might be near you or something. But yeah, definitely like the first step. So once you get your first 10 blues, you set up your HQ. Then, like in my opinion, go out and hunt another 10 blues. and unlock one of your UV spots and figure out where you want to place your UV. Because once you have your dozer down, even though you only have 5,000 resin, it's possible that like, especially if you like toss maybe like half of your resin in, at least like 2,500 of it, then it's possible someone will come and see that. They see that you've invested a bit of resin into it, and they'll maybe even finish it off for you.
Yeah, that is one of the things that I say to the people that I refer to. And thanks for reminding me of that. So when I'm out in the field, I have seen a ton of dozers down, and I will always try to add to whatever I see, because in the end, it's
benefits everyone.
Exactly. But one thing that kind of irks me is when I see someone put down a dozer and they'll have a whole bunch in a spot, and it will be like literally, there's a few near me that empty. I have thrown things in and they have added nothing.
Right? Totally.
And it's like,
I know. The only time I can say that that's a positive is a month like I just had, where I was begging for empty. Yeah, I was begging for empty dozers. Like by the end of September, I literally like there were like the last few days I literally had to drive because I ran out. Like I could only recruit so many people so fast, and there was like a couple nights at the end where I drove like 2 hours up island to Nanaimo to literally just like I was just like dying for dozers to dump resin in, and then I'd get to one, and it was like the first time ever where I would like open a dozer and I was like, oh crap, it's 3/4 filled already. Like, you know, but usually, you're totally correct, right? Like usually, like, you know, most people like aren't competing all the time, and it is like pretty discouraging sometimes if you just like throw some resin in a dozer and then you go back 2 weeks later and there's still no resin in it. And it's definitely a bit discouraging when it's like that. It's good to add some in.
Exactly. So we've talked about people that are just starting. What about if you decided that it's, you know, you've been playing for a while and you want to take a shot at the leaderboards? Any suggestions there?
I mean, I'm definitely like a good example of that. As I said, like I didn't initially have like a city to facilitate. You really got to kind of like plan it out, right? Like this has kind of been like a plan of mine for a while. I knew I wanted to run for leaderboard. I don't have like any crane near me. I don't have any yellow vault near me. I had no red vaults in the event. Like, so really like you kind of just gotta start stacking your stuff, and it's always going to be like harder for certain players than it is for other players. And that's kind of like that's always going to be like the nature of this type of game. Like other, you know, certain players are always going to have like hotter areas, right? And more, you know, and more like, you know, bigger populations where things just keep getting added all the time. But yeah, like if you know, if you want to make a run, start saving your stuff. So like, and that isn't just resin, like that includes your blueprints, right? Everything. So that was like, you know, that was the same thing with this month. Like I didn't end up actually printing all my prints, but like I still had the purple QB print from 4 months ago when I started, right? And it's just been like, and it sucks because like, you know, there were times like I basically like acquired every print since I've started that's come out, but there were times where like I wanted to use them so bad, right? Like by the end of September, I pretty much just like printed my pirate because I wanted to use it so bad, but like I don't think I needed to. But you know, like nobody has a pirate in Victoria, right? So I really wanted to have my pirate on my UV. I wish I had the pirate. I know, right? So that's like, it's about kind of saving everything, right? And you can't do it all at once, or you kind of can, but you kind of have to pick times to try and save each thing. And the sometimes you got to save keys. Sometimes you got to save keys. I think that's like one of the most important things. Is like try and build up like a little bit of a stack of keys, like even if it's just like 100 or whatever, right? And then you have something, you know. I would definitely say like try if you're able to stack up like 200-ish keys. And the reason I say that is because it's enough to buy a rare in the shop. So you know, obviously 100 blues is 1 yellow, and a rare that gets dropped in the shop would be 2 yellows usually. You know, so that's definitely like one thing is the keys, just so then, because you know, you get leaderboard points for that every time you print a print first. And then same thing with the resin, right? Definitely like focus on filling up your UVs first, because like if you do end up wanting to do a leaderboard, that in the end, like you need UVs to hit, right? You need to try and or regular vaults, right? But just like the
but even in the long run too, the focus on filling your UVs is that you are it's like this circular thing. You put your UVs up, you add to them, and then others come and they're opening them up, and then you're getting a 5%. So I think it's after every 20 keys that are inserted, whether they answer right or wrong, you get a key back. But also when people see, I find when people see that there are UVs, especially in areas that before there weren't, then they start going into those areas, either adding or just even visiting, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's how it was here, right? Like if you don't have like even if you like, that's kind of the mistake I made a little bit, is I like I placed my UVs so fast, and then I saw where the hot spots are developing. So really like try and be proactive about seeing where you think a hot spot's going to start, and then go create it, right? Because with like 10 UVs with each player, like it really doesn't take much, right? Like 60 UVs is 66 players, right? So
no, exactly.
So really try, and this also kind of comes back to like the community thing. Like, so say you don't have much in your area, like if you can get a friend to join with you, right? Like the two of you, that's what my my stepdad and the page and his wife are doing. Like they really don't have like a ton in their area, and that's kind of what I told them to do, is just create their own little line between the two
right
of them.
There.
20 is like, you can net quite a bit from 20 UVs, right? So it's really just about like building up like that, and then try and utilize saving up a little bit, get your UVs filled, and then start stacking resin and stuff like that, right? Resin has definitely become, or if you have extra keys but no UV, like that's another thing. Like maybe your area doesn't have that many vaults, but you have keys. Everyone, if you live in any city, there's keys, right? So you could get some keys and then maybe go buy a little bit of resin in the auction house to like speed up the process of filling up your UVs. Which kind of like is better in the long run, right? But so like to kind of summarize your question, like if you are trying to run for leaderboard, it really becomes like about just trying to kind of save up your stuff, and you got to be patient a little bit. Like even if you live in a city that doesn't have, that's how a lot of players do it, right? They save up for like months at a time, right? And then I would kind of recommend like doing it how I did it. Like if you have a crane, that's great, but like I'm happy it ended up like this way, because if Illusion Weaver did end up giving me a crane, I would have just filled it, and then I have this yellow vault once a week, which is awesome. I still want it, obviously, but this method is much better, where now I have all these UVs I can hit. It's better for everything. It's better for resin. It's better for my crypto per week. It's better for all the stuff, right? So try and stack a little bit of keys, get another player involved with you, go out and hunt together with them, try and create your own little hotspot, and then from there just start to stack stuff up, stack your resin, be patient and save your blueprints. That's like a big thing as well. There are a lot of leaderboard points, right? That's how players always jump spots in the last hour of the month. They sit by a print shop. You best believe at the end of September, I was sitting at the print shop waiting for someone to jump me, right? So they're really useful in that sense, where you can kind of get this last minute boost. And it sucks not printing your prints. You have these like cool prints you want to use, but it depends. That's it's a game of choices. Do you want to wear the QB right now, or do you want to save your prints and just be patient? And I think being patient is definitely like a big part of doing leaderboard runs for the average person.
So what do you with, like I said, I keep saying it, but we just had so many new things in game. What do you what's your favorite category? Like We've got the
Yeah,
dynamic
that's a good question.
system
Yeah, what's my favorite? What? Sorry, can you repeat that
category.
question? For questions?
Yeah,
Yeah, why don't you answer that question first?
I like entertainment,
Yeah.
geography,
Hmm.
lifestyles.
Has that been the
Art.
case since the start? Has that been the case?
No,
No.
no. I like each. I find that as the game goes on,
Yeah.
I'm becoming,
Evolving.
yes, and I'm taking
Yeah,
more
yeah,
risk. Like, so for
yeah,
a lot of people that I'll take out there, everyone's fave is different. Like
yeah,
celebrity and all of
yeah.
those, I'm like, no.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like you. I'm like you. And I mean, just a quick note too. That's where hunting with friends can become really beneficial.
Yes,
So,
yes.
like especially in an event or something like that. Like I was always hunting with Awesome Possum, and then a lot of the time my girlfriend was with us as well.
Mm-hmm,
And like the three of us were actually like a really good like uh partnership to hunt
mm-hmm,
together because my girlfriend and Possum were really good at music, and like I
mm-hmm.
love music. It's kind of ironic that I don't typically like the music category,
Yeah,
but I'm not like a top 40s guy usually, right?
exactly.
And there's so much like top 40 stuff in there, right? There's a lot
Mm-hmm,
of other stuff too, but so I normally avoid music. So it was like really beneficial, especially for like green balls. We'd all kind of do it one at a time,
mm-hmm.
and that way if like a cat like the three brains is better than one, right?
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
so
really like that. I
yeah,
like the addition of the group hunt with
hmm,
like the introduction with the elemental invasion. Like once everyone
yeah,
figured that
yeah,
out,
yeah,
I like that incorporation because then it does become where, like you said, there's some people
hmm,
that their favorite categories are opposite from what yours are. And then the
yeah,
more
yeah,
you're answering, like I
yeah,
find that the more I'm answering questions that are
and they
out of
get
my
better at it.
realm, yeah, you get to
Yeah,
know them, right?
yeah,
So pop quiz time. Yes or no?
yeah.
What do you think about dark mode? Dark mode.
I love dark mode, honestly.
Yes.
I felt like some people saying it was like too bright, but I don't know, like
Too
or
bright.
like certain parts
Oh,
of it were too bright.
okay.
But I really like that, honestly. Like I think it looks super cool. I
Sick.
hope they
Yeah,
don't.
I like it.
I hope they don't change it at all, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I did see a couple comments saying that like certain parts were too bright, like I just turned the brightness down on my phone and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't that bright at all. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't really necessarily agree with that too much. I think the new dark mode looks sweet. I've been waiting for it forever. Like
Yeah.
I really like dark mode. Even my girlfriend, like she doesn't really use dark mode
Dark
on
mode. Yeah.
many things. I don't know, which
Yeah.
is crazy.
I know. I have
but
dark mode on my phone. Period.
and she didn't think she was gonna like it, and then she turned it on, and it looked so much better. And like
I
the
like
things
it.
like yeah, like the boxes pop more, and you can just like see all the I don't know, it looks so cool.
Yeah.
And it looks really good with the fire QB too. The dark mode kind of
Oh,
pops with the
you got to
fire
do a
QB. Yeah,
video. You got to do a video and put
I
that up.
will. It looks
Yeah.
good. Well, they adjusted. I don't know if you noticed too. Like they also kind of added a little pizzazz to the animations
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
the elemental QBs. Did you notice that?
Yes. Yes. So I.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think they did it with the water one as well. Like it's just a
Mm-hmm.
bit more. It's like his little typhoon circle
Mm-hmm.
tornado thing on the bottom's a bit more detailed, and you can like see
Yeah.
the molten moving in the fire QB more. Yeah, it's really cool. I really like what they did with the user interface for the update for sure.
Um, with the dynamic trivia system, I know at first like
Yeah,
people were just
yeah,
they just were not
yeah.
happy, and that
Honestly, understandably, I was one of those people, right? Like
yeah, well,
yeah,
that's it. Just speaks though to just the fact of like with having the Discord and we're all still kind of starting out. just that how the input from us as players and us as a community really does make a difference. Because I was like shocked that, like, I've seen changes before, don't get me wrong,
For
right?
sure. Yeah.
But just how fast that the devs were able to
implement some changes.
Yes. And now
100%.
I really love it. Like, one thing though that I really feel that we need to touch on. I notice this when I'm signing people up, like leading them through, or even a few people that I've introduced to the game months ago.
Yeah.
The hunter mode.
The what? Sorry.
Hunter mode. So.
Oh, hunter mode. Yeah.
Yes,
mode.
they are. Even though it's in the wiki, it was announced. I've even done talks about it. There's a lot of people that still they didn't understand that they have to go in and put it on. So I had people that were hunting since that came out.
Yeah.
That were like
on the chill mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotcha.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
One of the people that it was actually my partner's friend that I referred. And he's like, oh yeah, I've been playing for like da 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 da, and I didn't know that.
Totally.
But it wasn't just isolated just to him. So that that's even more so why I think these little talks are so good, just to go through.
For sure.
And explain things. Okay, favorite category. What's your least favorite category?
Well, it's actually kind of funny because like that's another like super benefit of this game. Like I've never been like a huge trivia person, but I don't know, I love trivia in this game. Like this game has made me like trivia.
You're smart,
and like there's so many, and it's kind of the same thing, right? For a long time I was kind of like sticking with all the same categories, but like, you know, when you open 4,000 vaults in 10 days, it really becomes like you really want to just open some other questions, right?
Now you're big brain.
Big brain. But this is where it became like, you know, pretty beneficial. Like I've never been a geography person. I struggle with geography. I know, and I've struggled with it so much. I have a lot of trouble retaining geography, but now like I pick geography a lot. My geography is like, you know, improved. I still find it's the hardest. So I don't know, I kind of just answered like the question weirdly. I used to not like geography the most, or one of the most at least. And now it's kind of become one of my favorites, honestly, just because I've become like so familiar with a lot of it. And that was definitely like a weak point in my knowledge was geography. And I love to travel, so it's crazy that like I don't have a great that I'm not super knowledgeable with geography, right? Like I probably wouldn't have even been able to tell you what a lot of countries, what continents are on or something, right? But now like you just start to see similarities in the questions too, like certain countries and certain continents, and you can kind of almost just like, even if like a new question pops up, like I can almost kind of just like take a stab at it and usually get it right. It's nice that they added a bunch of them too, because like initially there were just like a lot of the US state questions, which is awesome, but you know, it's I really like that they've branched off into like a lot of other parts of the world. At first it was like at first, you know, when the new questions came out, it was like somewhat, you know, I was like, I don't know where this country and you know, what part of Africa it's in or whatever, right? But now it's just like increased my knowledge like so much. So geography's kind of become one of my favorites. I mean, in the beginning, I always like lifestyle, and it's kind of weird. It actually really depends, because like I like lifestyle and general knowledge a lot, but I typically don't like it in green questions. I find it's really difficult in green questions. So like I kind of avoid it a little bit, which is really, it's kind of an odd thing. I had also never touched greens before the elemental invasion. That was kind of a nice thing about the elemental invasion, is like I really had to like get up to speed pretty quick with the greens. And that really helped with that. I was hitting like 25 of them a day usually. So like, and then on top of it, I was hunting with 2 other people a lot of the time. So I really got to see like a lot of the questions in the greens. But yeah, I would say overall, favorites a lot of the time, I mean, our general knowledge and maybe even like, yeah, I don't know. I like general knowledge and the lifestyle. Those were always my go-tos. Yeah, those were definitely my favorite. And then least favorite, like I was never really an art guy. Then I realized in the elemental invasion that there were only 5 art questions.
Right?
Normally I would have never
Yes.
brought this up, but it's already been disclosed in the Discord and ruined. So, but not ruined, really. It's just like a good thing, right? But they've added new ones to it now.
Yeah. The pictures. They've added,
which is cool.
Yeah, I like the pictures. Like when it first came up, I'm like, what is this? What is this? Like, especially the canvas one. I'm like, what is this? Because it's so.
I know the canvas. I haven't seen it, but my girlfriend got it when we were hunting, and I didn't get a chance to look at it. But she thought the picture hadn't loaded yet.
I know.
She was just sitting there. She's like, the picture won't load, and then she realized it's a canvas. So.
That's what happened to me. I'm like, what is this? What's
yeah.
Okay, then I read the answers, right? It was like,
yeah.
All right. Totally. So, how long, like on average?
Before we move on, what's your least favorite category?
I'm not good at celebrity and.
I agree. I'm not big on the celebrity one. The other one too, I find it's a little bit like too difficult is so films, the old films is easy. It's good. Like the questions are pretty good. They can even add some new ones, I think, into that one. But yeah, now cinema is like so hard. And the problem with it is that like it's really hard to even look it up to learn it in the future. So that's like, you know, if any like devs end up seeing this, then that's like one thing I can say is because I agree, right? You know, some of it's fine when they're not all like you can't look them all up, right? But I've found like I really try and avoid cinema because I can't even look the question up a lot of the time, which can be a little bit frustrating because I really don't end up learning any of that category. So yeah, and then I mean I guess the other one too, like what do you think of food and drink? The food and drink category.
That is like literally.
You don't like it, eh?
Well. You just
it's like a 50-50 I find.
You just guess like it's asking you the question. For me, I'm like, okay, where are they asking for? Let me look through the answers and then guess based off of what I think this region, food and drink, definitely.
It's good. Some of them are easy. I found some of them kind of like, especially the ones where it's like you know, like what food contains like I don't know, rice, vegetables, and like, you know, whatever, that's the soy sauce or something, right? Like, so I find those ones can be a wee bit frustrating sometimes. But I mean, it's just like, you know, sometimes you just gotta end up like biting the bullet on a few. And then when it pops up next, just try and remember which ones you answered. And then, you know, next time either ask in the Discord, another reason to get in the Discord in the community, right? Like if I remember it, then, you know, I'll go ask. And usually someone in the Discord knows. I was like, there was a joke about it recently in the Discord because like I've opened so many vaults, right? And the question in films, how many Oscars did Forrest Gump win? I think it is. I swear I've tried to answer that question like 30 freaking times and I get it wrong every time. And then finally, because I don't pick films all the time, right? So like by the time it comes up again, I can't remember which one I picked last. So finally I just like asked in the Discord and like got the answer, but it's 6, by the way. 6 Oscars is one, I think, or whatever.
Input.
But yeah, 6 Oscars. But I swear, like I literally have gotten that question wrong so many times. People are laughing at me. They're like, "How do you not know that one?"
No, because that's just
I'm like, I don't know.
You're good at some categories, and then you just not. Like what I really like too is that I not like so beyond the crypto. What I I really like is that I've been able to get people to start the game. They didn't even give a hoot about the actual BTC, the whole thing. They just really like the trivia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
like my cousin started, I was in the car. I've been trying for months talking about it, free this, da 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 da. So I was in the car, I'm playing the game. She's like, oh, trivia? What's that? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what have you been talking about this game for how long? And boom, in that second on the game. And I think that aspect too should kind of be played up when
for sure. It's an absolutely like great on ramp. My girlfriend is the same way. Like she didn't previously own any cryptocurrency. She loves trivia. So it kind of started off with like, I would be playing all the time, and then I would start to ask her the trivia questions, right? And then eventually, like, she, ended up downloading it or whatever, and then like was basically in it for the trivia questions, and then once she unlocked Uphold and saw that she had like $50 in Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? Like it got her more excited. So now, so so it's definitely like a really good on ramp, right? Like a lot of the people that don't know, and it's like it's like a good learning tool too, right? So, like a lot of people, especially if they're not in the crypto, like they don't know what Satoshis are or what Wiki is, right? So they see this thing pop up, and it just like motivates people, I think, a little bit to like just get a bit more involved, like in the space. And like that's how it, like this is the best way to do it, right? Is to like get people using something or gaining something like in a new technology sector without them really knowing that they're doing it. And then now, they got this $100 sitting in this account of this stuff. And then, they got to figure out like how to access it. And it's just like a really good like on ramp, I think, to get people more involved in the crypto space.
Yeah, that's one of the things I really do like. So before even starting the game, that the whole crypto thing is giving access to people who otherwise wouldn't, like from all walks of life, right? Whether you're older, younger, like what is this new thing, and how can I get into it? Because I find for a lot of people, even now, just explaining to them that it doesn't take hundreds of dollars to get started. It literally, you can start with $5, $10.
I find that's like one of the biggest issues is people like literally, like I've talked to so many people that think you need to buy a Bitcoin. No. You know what I mean? And that's like one of the whole things with cryptocurrency and like and Bitcoin like itself is that it's divisible into 8 decimal places, right? That's like the whole, it's why they call it like digital gold, right? When you think about like gold, like that's one of the problems with gold. It's expensive to store gold. You can't divide gold up.
You can't travel with it.
It's not like you can like take a 1 ounce gold bar and like cut it up at the house like into spendable parts, right? Whereas like you can take a millionth of a Bitcoin. I mean, you can send a million technically, but you could send, like a very small decimal portion of Bitcoin anywhere. It doesn't cost anything to store. And, but that you're right. That's like one of the biggest problems is people think that they have to buy this large amount. And that's like, I think a really big problem, like, especially with my generation is like, we really like need to just say like people, like, everything's so expensive for us, right? Like, and everyone, right? Like housing is so expensive, everything's so expensive, and people just like think because they think that like saving $50 a month is like worthless, right? But that's why not. Like
that's actually good.
Or anything, right? Like even if you can just save like $10 a month or $20 a month, or or whatever like your means are able to do, right? Like just saving something and putting it away. And then, like in my opinion, invest it into something, right? Like that's the problem is, like, you can put it in a bank and it's just going to sit there forever and not like appreciate and value. And really like the way, I think Like in my opinion, the way the world is like going, like it is very hard to get ahead if you don't utilize like investing in things. And that's not just cryptocurrency. Invest, like diversify, right? Like invest in stocks, invest in safe stocks, invest in penny stocks, invest in crypto, invest in this and that, and then
but people
you know,
don't
and then
know, right? Like I find that when it comes to these type of things, that it's almost been this like out there unattainable, outside of them, they don't see themselves in those spaces where with this game, it is so easy to teach. Like for me, it's so easy to like kind of make that bridge that gap, right? And explain to them that even if you only, like you said, put a small percentage of whatever earnings that you have, it adds up in the long run. And for a lot of people, like when like knowing me and knowing what I do, to recognize someone that they trust, because like, let's not get it twisted. A lot of the times you really do have to watch, because these things are new, right? There's a lot of things out there that you have to watch for. Just like the same thing with fiat. You have to, there's a lot of things happening over there. And with this new system, there are people that are taking advantage of certain things. But to have someone that you trust that can kind of lead you down the road. And even for myself, like I've evolved, I feel, in the past year to where there's some areas that I was into that because of either politics in other places outside of where I am, that I've had to change where I put my money and what type of investments that I do, right? Like not to get too deep into that, but definitely to provide a space for people to kind of get together and say, okay, well, what do you use, and is this safe? And that's the other avenue too.
I would say the desire to help people definitely like runs in your family, I think, because that's the same thing. Like that's the same thing with like your son too, right? Like that's how I initially got in the coin hunt world. For people who don't know, was through your son, and his in-game name is 416 Bitcoin, and that started through a Discord channel that he started. It's called Crypto Tribes spelled with a Z at the end. And it's just like, it's kind of the same thing that like you like to do, right? Like he loves crypto, and initially we met through like some trading algorithm that we bought or something, and we were in that and we were in that trading algorithm's Discord. We decided we didn't like really like the Discord, and then it was his idea to start his own his
I
own
didn't even know
Discord
that.
channel.
Like I knew that you guys had met, but I didn't know the initial story. And like I really respect that right now, because I think as well, when it comes to like monies and what have you, is that we really do have to honor those people that kind of got us to where we're at. And the same thing for me, like he came to me, and because of my like love of sharing in the community, and he was like, you know, take a look at this, I think you'd be really good at it, like the crypto thing. So I started taking courses and just really expanding my mind. Like at first it was so much, like it was completely outside of my realm. But then when I got into it, I'm like, no, this is my space. I love this space, and I love what it stands for. So then I was educating myself about it. It felt comfortable, right?
And rewarding, for sure.
And he's still playing. He's actually, you know, I know even in the Discord that he runs, there's a lot of players there that have migrated over to Coin Hunt World, and he's still promoting the game because he loves it as well. But definitely, that shout out.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, he's so good. I definitely like welcome like anyone like that. I honestly, that's like one of the safest discords I've ever been in. Like I've seen him help so many countless people, like even people that weren't able to like purchase it themselves. He's done it for them, and like that's just like a really trustworthy space to be in for sure. And I commend him for
Well, I'm
that.
sure
So
he'd love
and
to.
then it's kind of funny too, right? Like he got me on the Coin Hunt World. I ended up in the Facebook group, and then I was asking you questions, but I didn't know that you
Yes,
guys
for a while, yeah.
yeah, I didn't even know you guys were related, right? And then like it all somehow clicked, and I was like, oh, that's so funny. Like,
I know. Last week
yeah.
he was like, he had to go back to work. He lives a ways from me, but he's like singing. He's like, "Mom took my friend. Mom took."
I know. I was wondering. Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah.
Like no, I didn't. So wrapping up, we got the newsletter yesterday. Like, so whoever has not subscribed, if anyone out there has not subscribed to the Coin Hunt World Wiki newsletter, like you just do.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot
absolutely.
of information. It kind of just pulls together what's happened over the month, what some of it is like there's little rumors, there's tips. Go check that out.
It's fun to look at it, honestly. There's a bunch of stuff. They do the meme of the week as well, which is hilarious.
Yes.
That one was so good. I think that's one of my favorite memes ever.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. We have there's the new shop drop that's going to be happening.
Kitty, who will be the greatest kitty wrangler of them all, I wonder.
Oh, good gosh. Listen, you already have it.
So I know. I mean, I think it was a really good idea because I can definitely say, like in the Discord, a cat QB has been one of the most popular requested QBs of them all. So this was like a really good one, I think, to test out like the new type of blueprint. So like for those of you who don't know, so the new blueprint is a common blueprint. So almost anyone can pretty much acquire at least one of these things. So a common costs 2 greens. And the new type of blueprint, like the style that they're doing, is you buy the blueprint, which is a common for 2 greens. And then it's a cat QB, but there are 9 different versions of the cat QB. And basically, when you go to, all the blueprints are the same, but when you go to print the print, it kind of does like a little roll of the dice as to which version of the cat QB you get. And different versions of the cat QB are different rarities, right? So, and then also, it's so cool. And then like an important mention as well is this blueprint acts like the OG blueprint, which is when you print it in the shop, the blueprint disappears. So you can only use your blueprint to print once, obviously. So how many of these freaking cat QB blueprints were you thinking of buying?
Honestly, I'm gonna tell you,
spend until you get them all.
No, during the I've noticed that there's been a lot of greens dropping. They can rain because I will buy as much as I can because I still have my OG.
For sure.
I like to hodl.
I know, and I'm the same. That was kind of like as I said, the first week I started was when the week the OG came out. So at the time, like it's kind of what like started this like desire for the game, because it happened to be the beginning of the month. The OG blueprint was an epic, and foolishly at the time, like I printed it right away. Now I mean it's all worked out anyway, but because it was the start of the month, that blueprint put me at the top of the leaderboard for like a week. So it kind of like gave me a little taste of it, but I didn't know, like I was like, oh, this is easy, like I'll just do this, and then you got to upkeep the craziness, right? So but that was like kind of a bit of like a taste that really like got me involved in the game. But I had wished that I did not print that blueprint, so that I could have saved it for for leaderboard push 1 month, and B, the blueprint is technically more valuable than the QB itself. I did end up just purchasing another one. So I now, like they've mentioned that maybe that like in-game mechanics would come with owning certain QBs. So I really wanted to own the QB and then also one blueprint. So I didn't end up buying one in the first week of the auction house, but it's cool to see that mechanic come back where you have these like disappearing blueprints. Like, what do you think how do you think the blueprints are going to be priced? So like, I don't know how long it's going to drop in the shop, but how do you think they're going to be priced in the auction house when people sell them? You know what I mean?
You know what? Like, I feel like now, since the auction house has been around kind of a little bit, and people are kind of recognizing the value of things. So now that people understand that these will not be coming out again, like I feel like you said, the OG, even though this is a common, I don't know. Like, I really think, like, for me, I'll be holding whatever I buy.
For sure.
Because long term, even though it's a common, it's not coming back. So it would be, I don't even want to even guess.
Is that what they said? I actually missed that part. Is that what they said?
I don't know. I don't know. Actually, I shouldn't even say that, but like, I don't know, because it's a common and it's this toss up, like, who knows?
I would assume, like, here, I would think it is coming back. Maybe it could be totally right.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a cap of 100,000 of them.
Oh yeah, so, but are they burning?
So I would think that there's a cap. Yeah, so like there's a cap of 100,000, but depending on how many people buy them, right? Like it would come back in the future possibly.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's going to be kind of like the OG, where like I think I can't remember how many of the OGs were bought, but as people keep printing them, there's going to be less and less and less and less blueprints over time, right? It's one of the few where the blueprint numbers will actually continue to decrease instead of either plateauing or increasing. So.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, I think, especially for people that have been playing for a bit, recognizing that once it's printed, it's done. Maybe for people starting, or if going up, like say for leaderboards, it'll be a little bit different, but I don't even want to expect, like, I couldn't even imagine, right? Like, even with the last event with the elemental invasion, I was shocked to see, like, right away that people were putting things up. That one, especially because it was said that they
for
would
sure
be coming back, right?
So, and that's like a couple like auction house tips for people, like in my opinion. So like, you had said that now that the auction house has been like around for a little bit, like people can kind of see the prices of things, which is true for the most part. One exception I would make to that is the QBs themselves. Like, in my opinion right now, like the QBs themselves are like dirt cheap, some of them. And that's because like currently the only benefit of having one is for the cosmetic purpose of it, right? But like the devs have mentioned multiple times that like certain QBs are going to be used in relation to these structures that are coming. And like, you best believe once they announce like, which QBs are going to be for what, like you better believe that some of these QBs, the prices are going to go up for them. Because like right now, and I think that that's a feature, like, I think that's pretty needed right now, because some of the QBs are like, they're way too cheap, right? Some of these epics especially, it's not worth it, right? So little tip, like buy some of these QBs like
right now. That's
they're
what
cheap,
I've been doing.
right? And same thing with the prints as well, like that you said.
Exactly, the blueprints and the QBs.
Did you pick up any extra blueprints
I did. Like, I'm excited about the expansion into other countries, just because I kind of want to own like one from wherever, right? Like UK.
You mean each of the countries, like, each of the country QBs?
Yeah, that's like my special thing. I'd love to have a blueprint.
I agree for sure. Yeah.
Like
Um,
I got a USA one that
the
I was
blueprint.
shocked. Yeah, like I was so
Yeah,
shocked that like I still have to acquire a lot of things for it, but I was
for
super
sure.
shocked at how cheap it was at the time.
I know, and I think that's like, because even I know, and that's actually one like I'm like you, like I want to collect all the stuff. The country ones are one of the ones I was like make made a slight exception where like I was okay because I want to acquire the blueprints, right? I'm the same
Yeah.
like that.
Mhm.
But the country ones are the ones I have made a slight exception for to just own the
And the
QB
QB.
itself.
Yeah.
Just because like it's so hard to get the materials, which is fine. I would do it once, but then like what am I gonna keep buying? Like buying these like
Yeah.
resources that from
Mhm.
other countries, you know what I mean? So yeah, like those, and I still haven't actually acquired a USA one. It's just been
No.
these like weird flukes. Yeah, I've been meaning to, and now there really isn't that many of them up for sale
Yeah.
anymore. So
But I think that in like a short period of time, there's just been
mhm.
so much happening that what you were saying earlier really does hold true in the sense of you got to pick your battles type thing.
Yeah,
What do you want right now, right?
yeah,
Are you
yeah,
going
for
to
sure.
hunt, and especially during the elemental invasion, what are you going to get this and this? Are you going to buy from the
Mhm,
auction house?
mhm.
Are you holding on to your keys? Do
Yeah,
there's a new drop happening. We don't know what that drop is. It could have been
yeah,
red keys. Like what exactly is going on, right?
it's
So
true. Yeah,
so much
it,
to, especially for like the thinkers where you're like, okay, I have to plan ahead. Yes, I'm doing
yeah,
this now, but I don't know what the future holds. So I have to
yeah,
kind of have a little pot set aside just in
for
case,
sure.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um.
yeah,
Yeah.
just I just wanted to kind of make this announcement right now.
Mhm.
Just to the fact that we will be doing more of this.
Yeah. 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 I'm excited. It's gonna be fun.
Yes, Josh and I are going to be available for you guys. Like we're gonna start our own Twitch.
Yeah.
We're gonna be on Twitch. We're gonna be on YouTube. We're um, same place, Facebook, Coin Hunt World fan group, and we hope to just be there to help everyone out. We
Yeah.
want to
Provide a
do,
little bit of strategy
yeah,
and
more
questions and keep up with some of
interaction.
the news and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited.
more every like just get out and have community involvement. Like I really, um, some of the questions that we were talking about even earlier, just having, just everyday ordinary people come on, like even just people
Yeah.
starting, just kind of helping them
Yeah.
out midway, some of the other leaders that are out there. And we both kind of have like different levels that we're at and
Yeah.
different looks. Like
Takes on
I'm
the
learning
game.
from
Yeah.
you. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's our goal. And we really hope that you guys kind of support us. And we just like I love this game. I love the community. Like I always I have a separate podcast that will be phasing out. I always end my podcast by kind of saying I came for the crypto, but I stayed for
Yeah.
the
But stayed
community.
for the
And
game.
that is that's so much what I stand for. I'm passionate. I love the game. When I'm talking about this game, I see um like I feel bubbly just even talking about it, and I see the excitement in other people. So I
Yeah.
really,
Absolutely.
want to share that with everyone else. Take it away, Josh.
Yeah, yeah, no, thank you as well, for all the people that are listening. I'm super excited. It's the same thing. I think, I think my girlfriend will thank you all as well, as this will give me a outlet to
Yeah.
speak about my coin hunt world, without making her ear melt off type thing. But yeah,
Yes.
I'm excited. Like, as some of the things I've said, like I'm always about connecting the community, and I'm happy to like help answer questions and create like some strategies for all you guys. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. Like
Mhm.
I'm excited. I'm always in this world, like pretty much 24 hours a day. So it's gonna be a lot of fun to cover some of this stuff, and learn from you guys and help you guys learn, and yeah, there'll be lots of topics that we can go over for future streams and stuff like that. I think we have some good ideas for that.
Endless.
And there's lots of stuff, whether it's strategy or crypto or whatever. So moving forward too, like if anyone wants to like hear about certain things, then feel free to like reach out and ask for that. And maybe even once in a while we can do like some live Twitch streams where we can have people chatting and asking stuff. And so I'm super excited. So thank you for letting me get in on the action. And
well, we've been there pretty much right from the start. Like I remember
absolutely
started out, I was like, we didn't have very many people, and providing a space for people to come and wherever
learn and feel safe.
We have people pretty much from all over now that's
one of my favorite things like about this too, is like this page and the game, and this definitely is like a spot where people from like all different walks of life are able to like connect for like a unanimous interest, right? So it's great. I'm super happy and blessed that we have the opportunity.
Alrighty, well, I will see you in game, and until the next time. All right.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
See ya.